The constitutional amendment to end the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule was approved yesterday in the CCJ. In the Constitution and Justice Committee of the Chamber of Deputies, the proposed amendment to the Constitution was approved, which establishes for you, the worker, that for every 5 days of work, you will have 2 days off without any reduction in salary. In other words, the end of the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule. So the Bolsonaro supporters, since the proposal comes from a left-wing government, what did the Bolsonaro supporters do? Many of the Bolsonaro supporters bailed. First, they presented a package of obstruction tactics to try to keep things from moving forward and making progress. They didn't succeed. They tucked their tails between their legs and ran. They disappeared from the voting session. And others worried about re-election voted in favor. Really, Andre? Really? It's just like income tax exemption, right, guys? The Bolsonaro supporters didn't want the income tax exemption for you. If you earn up to 5,000 reais, they didn't want it for you. But since the process moved forward, they couldn't block it through legislative procedures, which is a strategy to prevent a proposal from being voted on and approved. Since they couldn't block it, what happened when it went to a vote? And in the vote, they voted in favor of the income tax exemption. Why? Because otherwise, they wouldn't even be reelected now. It's like ending the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule. They're going to have to vote in favor. Nevertheless, they try to get in the way. So what happened? Yesterday, the end of the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule was approved in the CCJ. What's the process now? It goes to the special committee. A special committee will be formed. Hugo Mota will form this committee. In the CCJ, the proposal was deemed admissible. And in this special committee, the substance of the proposal will be analyzed. The terms of the proposal, do you understand? And we actually need to keep an eye on those terms, you know? Because for sure, they're going to try to sneak something in or put something tricky in there. Who? Andrea Gonçalves. Bolsonaro supporters don't want it. Because Bolsonaro supporters, when it's time to ask for your vote, they ask you, the worker, who makes up the majority of the Brazilian population. But when it's time to defend, he defends Bolsonaro and the elite. Do you understand? So they're going to try to get in the way again. And they're going to sneak in unrelated amendments to try to disrupt the proposal. Do you understand? Then it goes to the special committee and the substance of the proposal has to be approved. We have to keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on it for you. So don't worry, don't worry. After it's approved in the special committee, then it goes to the floor. There on the floor, there will be 2 votes because it's a proposed amendment to the Constitution. So it has to be passed and approved twice on the floor with a 3/5 supermajority. If it's approved, it has to go to the floor. If it goes to the floor, it will be approved. No. Don't worry, don't worry. If it goes to the floor, it will be approved. Wow, Andrea, but you've already told me that here, Andrea. That the PL and Bolsonaro supporters have the largest caucus of federal deputies, Andrea. So how will it be approved, Andrea Gonçalves, if it goes to the floor? It's an election year. Connect the dots, connect the dots. It's an election year, so they won't dare vote against it. Do you get it? Anyone voting against it won't be reelected. IBGE did a survey and says that over 70% of the Brazilian population is in favor of ending the 6-day work week with 1 day off. So establishing a 5-day work week with 2 days off, it could even be 4x3 or 3x4 because the congressman and senator already work 3x4 to earn almost 50 grand, 50,000, as my grandmother used to say. So why are you against it? Because it represents the barons. So if it goes to the floor, it will be approved. And that's our demand and our struggle to get it to the floor. After approval in the Chamber of Deputies, it moves to the Senate, where the process is quicker and easier. Did you understand? And now we also have to keep an eye on the special committee handling the substance of the proposal so they don't slip poison pills and other traps into it. Especially because there's no veto or sign-off from Lula. Since it's a proposed amendment to the Constitution, there's no veto or sign off from Lula. So you have to be really careful, because if it were a bill, there would be a veto or sign off from Lula. And any poison pill or other nasty rider that they put in there, Lula could veto. Since it's a proposed amendment to the Constitution, there is no veto or sign off. Approved in both houses with a 3/5 quorum, approved twice in each chamber. It goes straight to promulgation by the National Congress, in this case, Davi Alcolumbre, who is the president of Congress. Do you understand? So you really have to keep an eye on it. You have to watch this thing very closely. Because I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if they slipped in some Tana Jura in there. The Constitution and Justice Committee ruled the proposal admissible of a proposal that ends the 6 days on, 1 day off work schedule. Shall we take a look at some reactions? Let's see the reaction. Shall we see Samia's reaction? From Samia Bonfim? Very constructive. Pay attention.
Look at Kim Kataguiri, who says he has the courage to defend his position. Now let's see if he has the courage to show proof of formal employment on a 6 days on, 1 day off schedule. But he lacks the courage to explain why he opposes ending this schedule. Several far-right parliamentarians from the Liberal Party rant against the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule on social media and in interviews. But today, they all completely disappeared. They even used a package of obstruction tactics to have it removed from the agenda, to postpone the discussion. But when it's time to come here, show their faces, and explain their point of view to Brazilian society, they disappear. They're very cowardly. They're cowards, Deputy Reginaldo, because they don't know what it's like to work long hours, waking up early, going to bed late, and having only 1 day off a week. I saw Governor Zima from your state saying that ending the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule is absurd, that it would be highly demagogic, but the same Zima has never worked a day in his life. He's rich, he's the heir to a retail chain, and he exploits thousands of workers precisely with this inhumane schedule. Nicolas Ferreira, who opposed ending the 6 days on schedule on social media, do you really think he's ever worked a day in his life? With all due respect to him. But look, he became an influencer at a very young age, then became a city councilman, then a congressman. He doesn't know what it means to work. So it's very easy for him to come here and say he's in favor of this inhumane schedule. And then I see Kim Kataguiri, who says he has the courage to defend his position now, courage to show proof of formal employment.
It's like I told you, my dear. Here's the thing. You don't want to approve it. Deputies and senators, governors, mayors who are against ending this schedule, let's do the following then. No. Let's do the following. Everyone should switch to this schedule then, 6 days on, 1 day off. Then you'll see them change their minds right away. Then they change. Are we assigning everyone to this 6 days on, 1 day off schedule? The deputies and senators will have to be there in Brasilia, attending 6 plenary sessions during the week. How about that? Yeah, they'll have to hold plenary sessions on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. They'll have to hold plenary sessions. The state representatives in the legislative assemblies will have to hold plenary sessions on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The city councilors in your municipality, in your city, will have to hold plenary sessions and clock in. They have to clock in when they arrive and clock out when they leave. When they go out to eat, they have to clock out just 1 hour for lunch, and that's it. They'll have to clock out to go eat, to have lunch. They'll have to come back, clock in again, and stay until 6 in the evening, and then clock out again. The city council members in your municipality, in your city, will also have to hold plenary sessions on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's it. That solves the problem right there. Don't want to approve ending the 6-day work week? No? Then let's make everyone keep working 6 days. My dear, do you know how the Legislative Assembly works? Do you know how the National Congress works? Senate and Chamber of Deputies, do you know how the City Council works? The great mass and the vast majority, how does it work, Andrea? Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There's a plenary session, and that's it. He doesn't need to justify anything else. Where he went, where he is, what he's doing. He works 3 days a week. And even so many don't show up. and there's no pay deduction. So it's really easy, right? So is it easy for me as a councilwoman to oppose it? So it's really easy for me to be a state representative to be against it. So it's really easy for you, Senator, to be against it. So it's really easy for Kim Kitaguiri, Van Hatten, Nicolas Ferreira, and other federal representatives to be against it. Why? Because you're not the one getting whipped. It's on the backs of women and men who sometimes have to get up at 4 in the morning because the bus takes 2 or 3 hours to get to work. And it has to be from Monday to Saturday. So it's very easy for you. And you still get to earn almost 50,000 reais. You know, that's what makes me indignant. You people from the legal field, you are, in many situations, you make no sense. Unreasonable. You are against this for the worker, but you accept these perks for the deputies, senators, city councilors, state deputies, governors, mayors, and so on. In my mind, it's like this. As long as there is a privilege for one group, anything you can give to the worker is fair. As long as there are privileges for agribusiness, for the barons, for the elite, anything given to the poor is fair. It's just like Romeo Zema. Romeo Zema is one of the richest men in Brazil, heir to a billionaire elite in Minas Gerais, and always there. It's because I never had a formal job. I was always an entrepreneur, a businesswoman. Wow, that's way too easy, right? Oh, Zema, your life is way too easy, Zema. But 80% of Brazil's population is born into families that barely have enough to eat. Then there's Caiado, for example. Caiado made a video and said he was against it, but now he's already changed his mind. Pay attention. Caiado comes from the elite agribusiness barons in Goiás. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He said he's against it. There's a video of him. I'm not against it. The end of the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule. Okay. Now he already changed. Now he's already saying he's in favor, but there's a video of him. For him, it's easy to say he's against it. He doesn't know what it's like to get up at 4 in the morning to catch the bus, to get to work at 6 and work like a dog. Barely having time to swallow your food and go back to work, and then leaving again at 4, 5, or 6 in the afternoon, catching the bus again, another 2 hours to get home. They don't know what that's like. He's from the elite, from the agribusiness barons, Caiado. They have only one perspective. It's the way they see life, which is from the business elite and the barons. That's the only perspective they have. It's easy for them to say they're against it. It gives a minimum of dignity, of rest for the worker. No. So I'll repeat my position to you. As long as there is a privilege for any political group, everything that is established for the worker and for the poorest is fair. As long as we have a national congress feeding at the public trough. As we do, everything that is allocated to the poorest and to the workers is fair. Want to change? Start by changing your own house first. Why don't they do a political reform? Have you ever stopped to think about that? So why don't they do a political reform? Whenever they start thinking, it's always, oh, we need labor law reform. Crack the whip on workers. Oh, we have to do a pension reform again. Crack the whip on retirees and pensioners and the continuous cash benefit. We have to freeze the minimum wage. Anymore.
Why not do a political reform?
Put an end to these shenanigans like fuel allowance, clothing allowance, housing allowance, office budget, advisor salary, salary for I don't know what. advisor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are people who have 45 advisors. And many still steal half of their advisors' salaries. So why don't they push political reform then? Right? They don't do it. Do you know what they do? They approved the increase in the number of federal deputies that Lula vetoed. And yeah, they don't want to do political reform. They should streamline the political system. They should reduce the number of political positions. Then the Chamber of Deputies went ahead and increased the number of federal deputies from 513 to 531. That's 18 more federal deputy positions, which will cost about an extra $64 million per month. And who's going to pay for that? Then some jerk has the nerve to say they're against the cooking gas subsidy. Wait, no, that's not right. By the way, Lula vetoed that. Lula went and cut it. Another 18 seats for federal deputies? No, guys. That's wrong. Lula vetoed it. And at this rate, listen to what I'm telling you. The review of the sentencing guidelines bill is now scheduled for the end of this month. I wouldn't be surprised if they slip Lula's veto in there too. To pass everything together so it can be overturned in the dead of night. I'm keeping an eye on the proposal and the demand. Because you're not fooling anyone here. Not the beard crowd, not the lipstick crowd either. Did you get it? Soon you'll start believing it's your fault, poor thing, so miserable. And then you've got some nerve, right? So yeah, as long as there's a little privilege, a little perk for the rich, everything that's given to the poor and everything that's given to the worker is fair. Do you want things to change? Set the example. Set the example. If not, stop the nonsense and the hypocrisy. Or else stop defending what you are, elite baron. But you know what's worst of all? Many aren't even elite barons. They're just poor people acting arrogant.
Who are used and manipulated by the elite, by the middle class, the holders of cultural capital, who use and manipulate and keep pushing where? The oppressed.
Soon they become oppressors of their own kind. Help me. Not with me, buddy. Here, that sweet talk doesn't get me. It doesn't fool me. Oh my God. Meanwhile, in the Hall of Justice. Oh, ouch.
Guys, we just approved the end of the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule in the CCJ, but it's not a reason to celebrate yet, guys. Do you remember this issue here? Valdemar, who is the president of the PL, the party of that bum Bolsonaro, said he was going to pull the bill off the agenda, remember? So it wouldn't even be voted on. It's now that he started making this move. There's already a big effort here now, here in the Chamber of Deputies, from the Bolsonaro supporting deputies, so that this matter isn't voted on the House floor. Just so you know, it passed the Constitution and Justice Committee. Now it moves to the special committee, then the floor, where there's no turning back. Every deputy has to vote for or against and show whether they're on the people's side or on the boss's side. That's where Valdemar steps in with the Bolsonaro supporting deputies to remove it from the agenda and prevent a vote. In other words, they keep dragging it out and the people keep working like suckers 7 days a week while we politicians are here working 3 days a week. We won't allow this. Help me expose it. Hit the button, share this video a lot so we can show these slackers that we won't let anyone stop the vote on ending the 6 on 1 off schedule.
We're together. May God bless you all.
Here's the deal, folks. They won't do it. They might even try, but they won't succeed. Because if they do, the workers will take to the streets and stop Brazil. They'll stop Brazil. Because this is an issue that even brings together poor people on the right. Interesting, isn't it? The right-wing Bolsonaro supporter who's in the National Congress is against it. But the poor right-winger struggling who gets up every day at 4 or 5 in the morning to get to work on time, to clock in and work 6 days a week. He supports ending the 6-day work week. This is an issue that unites poor people, whether they're right-wing or left-wing. unless he's crazy. If he's crazy, then he wants to keep working 6 days on 1 day off, right? That's a different story. It's not a political issue. It's more of a psychiatric issue, right? It's more of a medical issue, an illness, isn't it? And people take to the streets. Now, what are they going to try to do to get in the way? They'll try to block the progress of the proposal so it doesn't reach the floor. Because if it gets to the floor, they'll have to vote in favor because it's an election year. That's the first thing they're working on to try to get in the way. The second thing, Andre, is to add unrelated amendments to make the proposal financially unfeasible. For example, Nicholas Ferreira wants a grant. Businessman. An elite handout, a handout for the barons paid by the government. And it's funny because they're against the Bolsa Familia. And now they want the government to pay for an elite handout, a handout for bosses. That's obviously unfeasible. That doesn't exist. Okay, guys? What can the government do? This can be discussed seriously. And really, if an agreement is reached, a reduction in the payroll tax burden for companies. Is that possible, Andre? That is possible. That is doable. That should actually be done. I'm not against it. No, Andrea Gonçalves, no. It slightly reduces the tax burden on the payroll. And that's it. The problem is solved. Now, bosses' welfare, Nicholas. Oh no, Nicholas, help me for God's sake. Nicola voted against the gas assistance. Nicholas is against the Bolsa Familia. And now he's proposing a boss's welfare? Oh, come on, Nicholas. Now your mask is slipping too. I don't understand how poor people and workers can vote for a phony like that little brat. I'm sorry, but there's no way. You understand? So that's the other situation. Trying to include hidden riders, other sneaky provisions, and poison pills in the project. No, projeto. To make it unfeasible because, I repeat, there is no veto. From the President of the Republic. Whatever is put there and approved becomes part of the federal constitution. And we have to be extremely careful with what's in the text. That's another point to pay attention to. These 2 points, the legislative process and the subject matter of what's in there. With the hidden rider, they can slip in, but go ahead. Everyone for the end of the 6-day work week and the 6-day work week now. And share the live stream. People need to understand this because many of these representatives will try to hinder the process so it doesn't reach the floor to be voted on and approved. And many who will try to add unrelated amendments will ask for the workers' vote. So it's important that people have access to this information. The caucus, almost all of it from the PL and Novo parties. Kim Kitagiri as well, Nicholas Van Hatten, Biakichis, the Belinsky, all those people, they're all working, the PL leader, the Cavalcante partners, they're all working to hinder the process and prevent it from being approved. And if it moves forward, they'll add unnecessary amendments to the process to make it unfeasible somehow. So grab the link to the live stream, share it, and let's stand together in this fight and in this cause, all for the end of the 6-day work week. Flavio was invited to an event over in Mato Grosso, in the city of Sinopolis. An event in Sinop, an agribusiness event, right? Bolsonaro supporters from Agribusiness there. They invited Flavio to an event. These agribusiness people are very ungrateful, right? They never grew as much as during Lula's government. Lula did everything he could to bring down the tariff hike. From the Trump administration against agribusiness in Brazil, orchestrated there by the Bolsonaro supporters, especially by Flavio, by Eduardo Bolsonaro over there in the United States. Lula did everything he could for agribusiness. And agribusiness is ungrateful. Ungrateful people. And the vast majority are full of themselves. They invited Flavio Bolsonaro to an event there. Then in his speech, Flavio revealed who he really is. Flavio is just as much of a coup supporter as his father. Flavio Bolsonaro tries to sell the idea that he's moderate, that he got vaccinated. Cute Flavio. That he won't be the disaster and catastrophe his father was. But in his speech, Flavio made it very clear that he's a coup plotter just like his father. What did he say? He said that the federal Supreme Court is already interfering in the electoral process. Pay attention to this. Flavio Bolsonaro said that the federal Supreme Court is already interfering in the electoral process. This is coup mongering. Once again, they're manipulating people's minds, especially those in agribusiness, right? Who took part in January 8th. Many are in trouble and in jail even. Are they going again? Yes, Flavio is going to do exactly what his father did, run away. Here's the thing. He mentioned that in this context, look, he attacked the federal Supreme Court and said that the federal Supreme Court is already interfering in the electoral process. In their minds, implying that it's to help Lula. Because Bolsonaro lost in 2022, according to them, and the coup plotters, it wasn't because Bolsonaro didn't have the majority of the votes. It was because the voting machine stole them. And stole it for someone on the left, Lula himself. You'd have to be dumb to believe that, right? If he were going to steal, it'd be for someone on the right. Or not. The Supreme Court is left-wing. The Supreme Court is communist. Oh no, go get some help. Go get some help. Go get your head checked. Get your thoughts straight, for God's sake. So what happens? He also said that the Supreme Court is already interfering in the electoral process. In what context, Andrea? In this context right here, look. He said that to defend Romeo Zema. He's really eager for Romeo Zema to accept being his running mate. He said that Romeo Zema didn't do anything. And that Gilmar Mendes has already filed a complaint with Alexandre de Moraes against Romeo Zema. Just because Romeo Zema criticized that Romeo Zema didn't do anything. And that the Supreme Court is already interfering and will soon be removing a candidate. But wait a minute, guys. Romeo Zema said that Gilmar Mendes sells rulings. That's the most serious crime within the field of the judiciary that a judge can commit, which is selling verdicts. And the former governor of Minas Gerais, who even left Minas Gerais bankrupt, and he said that he only remained governor of Minas Gerais thanks to the Supreme Court. That granted him an injunction so he could stay because of so much debt and bankruptcy he left in Minas Gerais. That he is a deadbeat, he didn't pay anyone. He said that Gilmar Mendes sells rulings. He did something with puppets, with the characters. That doesn't take away from the seriousness of the situation. Saying that Gilmar Mendes sells rulings. And he made this video and posted it on social media. Who? Romeo Zema. Gilmar Mendes then called on Alexandre de Moraes and the Office of the Prosecutor General to include Romeo Zema in the digital militias inquiry about fake news and so on and so forth. Then Flavio Bolsonaro, trying to defend Romeo Zema because he's eager for Romeo Zema to accept being his running mate, said that the Supreme Court is already interfering in the elections. And that what Romeo Zema did was just a criticism, a debate, it wasn't, guys. It wasn't, no. If you say that a Supreme Court justice sells rulings, you have to prove it. If you don't prove it, you're committing the crime of falsely accusing someone of a crime. And then that's the situation. And the coup plotter here with his coup actions, Flavio Bolsonaro defending Romeo Zema, saying that the Supreme Court is already interfering in the electoral process. And his father's entire coup scheme. He brings it to light, but he only brings it to light from time to time. And he tries to hide it because he wants the support of the democratic right. and also from the center. So he's selling himself as a moderate, but the mask always slips. First situation, I don't believe Romeo Zima will be Flavio Bolsonaro's running mate. In fact, Flavio Bolsonaro is having trouble finding a running mate. There's talk about a city councilwoman from a city in the Northeast, a councilwoman to be vice president of the Republic. Why, Andrea? Because people don't want to be Flavio Rachadinho's running mate. They want Flavio Milicinha. Do you understand, my dear? And what about Romeo Zema? Romeo Zema is already acting like a hardcore Bolsonarist. Why, Andrea? To take votes away from Flavio. That's what he's doing. That's why he's standing up against the Supreme Court, Romeo Zema, and he found a partner in this who has a pro-coup bent. And unfortunately, part of the press bought and is buying into this aggression and this violence against the Supreme Court. I'm not saying here that the Supreme Court is perfect. I'm not saying any of that. If you have proof that Gilmar Mendes is selling verdicts, do it the right way. Just make sure you have the evidence. Because if you don't have proof, you're committing the crime of slander. And that's not freedom of speech. That's not criticism. That's a crime against someone's honor. Slander, insult, and defamation. Now. Romeo Zema. If he is charged with making a false criminal accusation against a Supreme Court justice, he can use the legal defense built into that offense. A false criminal accusation is when you say someone committed a crime. What is this legal provision? The truth defense? You can prove during the trial that you are telling the truth. Then you won't face charges of making a false criminal accusation, and the person you prove committed it will be charged with the crime you accuse them of. It's easy then, Romeo Zema, it's easy. You can turn the game around then. Did you get it, my dear? That's not freedom of speech. That's a crime. Romeo Zema has no proof of anything. If he had any, he would have exposed it a long time ago. Romeo Zema, he just wants to be in the spotlight and have a platform and take votes away from Flavio. That's why Flavio wants him as his running mate, because he takes votes away from Flavio. Because he adopted a guns blazing attitude. Oh, my. Supreme. Understood? Bolsonaro supporters love that. That's the situation here. And Flavio shows his true colors. A coup plotter just like his father. That's the situation. All right? Put it up, guys. Put it up. Flavio. He's just like his father. So put it like this. Look, neither the father nor the son nor Bolsonaro ever again. So that's the message in this context. Don't let me speak alone. Don't let me speak by myself. Is there some little minion crying on the live stream? Tell them. Sit down and learn. Ha. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Please like the live stream so YouTube can recommend it to more people. But first, look here. I already have our first debate scheduled for you. Debate. Does sentencing remain or fall? Right and left. A live debate between me and Michelle. Michelle is right wing. And I am obviously left wing. And we are going to debate this on Monday at 8 p.m. I'll send you the link now. I'll copy the link here. Hello? I don't know. Here it seems normal. I'll send you the link right now. Here, look. Go ahead and join and subscribe to the channel. Okay? And turn on the notification bell so you can access the live stream. I'll show you here. That's strange. It's acting up. Look. Debate, right and left. Does sentencing stay or go? We know that next week we'll have an analysis of Lula's veto on sentencing. So we're going to talk exactly about this here in a live stream. Don't forget, you're going to click this link. Go ahead and like the live stream right here. I'll enlarge it so you can see better. I'll make it big right here. Since you're already here, like the live stream, since you're already here, subscribe to the channel. turn on the notification bell. Look here. And turn on personalized notifications, or you can choose all. You activate it here because whenever there's a live stream, you'll be notified. Now, of course, subscribe to this channel. This channel right here is the channel. The Politica Brazil Know Our channel. Subscribe because this channel will be all about debates and it will start on Monday at 8 p.m. This debate is going to be really cool about various topics. About January 8th, about sentencing, about amnesty, about a whole range of other issues. Me and Michelle, he will have his right-wing perspective, right? And of course, I will have our left-wing progressive perspective. It's going to be really cool. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and like it. And more than that, join here. This QR code here, it's the QR code for my group, for the WhatsApp channel. Whenever there's a new live stream, for example, I posted this live that's happening right now. When it's 12:30, I'll post the 12:30 live. When it's the debate channel's live stream, I'll post the link so you don't miss anything. Because unfortunately, many people aren't receiving it. The YouTube notifications, even if you subscribe to the channel, even if you turn on the bell, sometimes you don't get the notification, right? It's tough. But here on this WhatsApp channel, you will have access to everything I publish. For example, yesterday afternoon, it was approved in the CCJ about the end of the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule. So what did I do? I rushed. I made a little video. I grabbed my phone. I rushed. I made a little video and I posted it here in the group. Because here in the group, you won't be left out of the loop. All right? Because here on the channel, on this channel, the live stream is at 8:30 and 12:30, and a clip goes up at 4:30. And here, you get access to information faster. All right? And any additional update, a new live stream, I'll bring it here to the group. So go ahead and join. What do you need? You need to have WhatsApp on your phone. That's it. All right? And we'll be together and connected, engaged in the fight for democracy, against the far right, against any kind of abuse. And we stand for diversity. We stand for life, progressive leftists. And as long as there is a privilege for one group of the elite, whatever is granted to the poorest and to the workers will be fair, especially in this country where inequality exists. Is so violent that it hurts so much, especially those people who often don't have access to education and consequently don't have access to job training and don't have access to a decent life. So we have to fight for this to change. And that's our proposal. Always dignity and respect in any environment. That's why, like the live stream, comment and share. Thank you so much. Let's stay alert and together and united. Always much love. See you in the next live stream. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.